Let's talk about teacher strikes and why they're happening more in Massachusetts over the last 5 years. Students in Newton lost out on weeks worth of school when teachers there hit the picket lines in the latest of a string of teacher strikes. Keep in mind, this latest burst of teacher strikes over the past 5 years follows 12 years without a single one in our state. We're now taking a wider look at the reason for these walkouts in education and the pressure facing our school districts in the years to come. We've been covering this strike since it started in January, and it's brought out serious passion from teachers who say they're underpaid.
What they can't afford is to lose the highly qualified educators who are in this district. That's what they can't afford.
To parents scrambling to keep their kids busy and safe.
I loved my teachers and we love our kids' teachers, but it's at the point where we do no longer respect the NTA's actions.
And city leaders trying to hold the line on their budget.
The offer we proposed would continue to make Newton one of the highest paying school districts in the state.
The situation in Newton may be drawn out, but it's not isolated. The trend began in 2019 when Dedham had the first Massachusetts teacher strike since 2007. Then, since 2022, there have been 6 unions in the state to go on strike. Those are Brookline, Malden, Haverhill, Woburn, Andover, and Newton. There have been strikes nationwide too, in a wide variety of industries and in companies ranging from Amazon to Starbucks.
Both in the private sector and in the public sector, there has been this burst of strikes.
Boston University law professor Maria O'Brien specializes in labor matters and says the success of other strikes can spark more of them.
You know, if you look over to your right and you see someone else that's done it and had success with it, yeah, I suspect there's kind of a marginal effect there that influences the next unhappy group of employees to say, well, they did it. Let's study that. Let's think about that and consider following in their footsteps.
She's tracking growing labor activity and suspects that today's economic conditions are fueling the fire.
My gut tells me that it's somehow connected to the kind of unpleasant period of inflation that we've all been living through these last couple years since the pandemic. And I think inflation at least partly explains it, because inflation, eats away at your purchasing power with whatever you're making.
Vice President of the Massachusetts Teachers Association, Deb McCarthy, says she's seen firsthand educators struggling financially.
Walk me through a little bit about the context and similarities between what these striking unions are wanting and fighting for, and why now.
We have schools that are not receiving the funding or the resources that we need, and that's why I think you're seeing this pattern of educators withholding their labor.
What's more, she says, the job itself has changed drastically since the pandemic.
I believe our students are in an emotional crisis. We hear time and time again that students aren't feeling safe, educators aren't feeling safe, and that we have prioritized the wrong things in our classrooms.
I'm so proud of you for being out here today.
In Massachusetts, it's illegal for public employees like teachers to go on strike. But in many instances, these strikes have continued in the face of court injunctions and steep fines. McCarthy backs proposed legislation to legalize teacher strikes if good faith negotiations go on for more than 6 months.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, and we should not be in a system that is seeking to punish a gendered profession who loves our children by trying to hit them with exorbitant fines.
In some cases, though, those fines end up being waived when an agreement is met. In other cases, like in Haverhill, the teachers union had to pay $110,000 in fines after 4 days on the picket line, and also had to reimburse the city $200,000. Tom Scott, the executive director of the Massachusetts Association of Superintendents, says there's a real financial burden to districts and municipalities dealing with these teacher strikes.
First, you have a lot of non-professional people who still come to work. You have a lot of security costs. So when you have a strike, you have lots of police details that are provided. you've got a lot of food insecurity issues that need to be addressed.
We reached out to 5 communities that have recently gone through teacher strikes to learn the cost associated, but we have not heard back yet. Beyond that, Scott says these strikes can lead to student learning loss and damage the relationship between administrators and teachers for long after a resolution has been reached.
The animosity, the distrust, the relationships that are broken, the way in which unions unify and sort of almost become cult-like in terms of how they, kind of connect with one another, which didn't happen before that strike.
And yet, whether it's teaching students, serving coffee, or shipping packages, these unions are all pushing to get more from their employers.
Budget statements are value statements. Public education is the foundation of our democracy. And currently, our schools are underfunded here in Massachusetts.
And all of that is enough to leave district leaders cautious about what's to come.
I think every superintendent right now who's looking down the barrel of a negotiation this year or next year, obviously in the back of their mind is, could this be us next?
I'm Matt Fortin.
Make sure to stay with us for continuing coverage on the teacher strike in Newton. We'll bring you the latest developments as we get them. And if you're away from a TV, you can get any new updates by downloading our free app.